Hello and welcome back to this Bible series. So in today's video I'm going to be reading Matthew chapters 20 to 22. And for anyone who's new to this channel, if you watch one video a day, in 1 year you'll have read the whole Bible. And for anyone who can hear it in my voice, I'm still a little bit sick, but I feel a bit better today. Disclaimer. So anyway, without further ado, let's get reading. Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 to 34. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man who was the master of a household, who went out early in the morning to hire labourers for his vineyard. When he had agreed with the labourers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. He went out about the 3rd hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. He said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right I will give you." So they went their way. Again he went out about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise. About the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle. He said to them, "Why do you stand here all day idle?" They said to him, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and you will receive whatever is right." When the evening had come, the Lord of the vineyard said to his manager, "Call the labourers and pay them their wages, beginning from the last to the first." When those who were hired at about the 11th hour came, they each received a denarius. When the first came, they supposed they would receive more, and they likewise each received a denarius. When they received it, they murmured against the master of the household, saying, "These last have spent 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat." But he answered one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Didn't you agree with me for a denarius? Take that which is yours and go your way. It is my desire to give to this last just as much as to you. Isn't it lawful for me to do what I want with what I own? Or is your eye evil because I am good?" So the last will be first, and the first last. For many are called, but few are chosen. As Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside, and on the way he said to them, "Behold, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death, and will hand him over to the Gentiles to mock, to scourge, and to crucify, and the 3rd day he will be raised up." Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came to him with her sons, kneeling and asking a certain thing of him. He said to her, "What do you want?" She said to him, "Command that these, my 2 sons, may sit, one on your right hand and one on your left hand, in your kingdom." But Jesus answered, "You don't know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am able to drink, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?" They said to him, "We are able." He said to them, "You will indeed drink my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it is for whom it has been prepared by my Father." When the 10 heard it, they were indignant with the 2 brothers. But Jesus summoned them and said, "You know that the rulers of the nations lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. It shall not be so among you, but whoever desires to become great among you shall be your servant. Whoever desires to be first among you shall be your bondservant, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." As they went out from Jericho, a great multitude followed him. Behold, 2 blind men sitting by the road, when they heard that Jesus was passing by, cried out, "Lord, have mercy on us, you Son of David." The multitude rebuked them, telling them that they should be quiet. But they cried out even more, "Lord, have mercy on us, you Son of David." Jesus stood still and called them and asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" They told him, "Lord, that our eyes may be opened." Jesus, being moved with compassion, touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received their sight, and they followed him. Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 to 46. When they came near to Jerusalem, and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, Then Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village that is opposite you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied, and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord needs them,' and immediately he will send them." All this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken through the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king comes to you, humble, and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did just as Jesus commanded them, and brought the donkey and the colt, and laid their clothes on them, and he sat on them. A very great multitude spread their clothes on the road. Others cut branches from the trees, and spread them on the road. The multitudes who went in front of him, and those who followed, kept shouting, "Hosanna, the Son of David, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." When he had come into Jerusalem, all the city was stirred up, saying, "Who is this?" The multitudes said, "This is the prophet Jesus, from Nazareth of Galilee." Jesus entered into the temple of God and drove out all those who sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the money changers' tables and seats of those who sold the doves. He said to them, "It is written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer,' but you have made it a den of robbers." The lame and the blind came to him in the temple, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children who were crying in the temple and saying, "Hosanna, the Son of David," they were indignant, and they said to him, "Do you hear what these are saying?" Jesus said to them, "Yes, did you never read, 'Out of the mouth of children and nursing babies you have perfected praise'?" He left them and went out of the city to Bethany and camped there. Now in the morning, as he returned to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing on it but leaves. And he said to it, "Let there be no fruit from you forever." Immediately the fig tree withered away. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree immediately wither away?" Jesus answered them, "Most certainly I tell you, if you have faith and don't doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you told this mountain, 'Be taken up and cast into the sea,' it would be done. All things, whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive." When he had come into the temple, the chief priests and elders of the people came to him as he was teaching and said, "By what authority do you do these things? Who gave you this authority?" Jesus answered them, "I also will ask you one question, which if you tell me, I likewise will tell you by what authority I do these things. The baptism of John, where was it from? From heaven or from men?" They reasoned with themselves, saying, "If we say, 'From heaven,' he will ask us, 'Why then did you not believe him?' But if we say, 'From men,' we fear the multitude, for all hold John as a prophet." They answered Jesus and said, "We don't know." He also said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things, but what do you think? A man had 2 sons, and he came to the first and said, 'Son, go work today in my vineyard.' He answered, 'I will not.' But afterward he changed his mind and went. He came to the second and said the same thing. He answered, 'I'm going, sir.' But he didn't go. Which of the 2 did the will of his father?" They said to him, "The first." Jesus said to them, "Most certainly I tell you, that the tax collectors and the prostitutes are entering into God's kingdom before you. For John came to you in the way of righteousness, and you didn't believe him. But the tax collectors and the prostitutes believed him. When you saw it, you didn't even repent afterward, that you might believe him." Hear another parable. There was a man who was a master of a household, who planted a vineyard, set a hedge about it, dug a winepress into it, built a tower, leased it out to farmers, and went into another country. When the season for the fruit came near, he sent his servants to the farmers to receive his fruit. The farmers took his servants, beat one, killed another, and stoned another. Again, he sent other servants, more than the first, and they treated them the same way. But afterward he sent to them his son, saying, They will respect my son. But the farmers, when they saw the son, said among themselves, This is the heir, come, let's kill him, and seize his inheritance. So they took him, and threw him out of the vineyard, then killed him. When, therefore, the Lord of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those farmers? They told him, He will miserably destroy those miserable men, and will lease out the vineyard to other farmers, who will give him the fruit in its season. Jesus said to them, Did you never read in the Scriptures, The stone which the builders rejected was made the head of the corner? This was from the Lord. It is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore, I tell you, God's kingdom will be taken away from you, and will be given to a nation producing its fruit. He who falls on this stone will be broken to pieces, but on whomever it will fall, it will scatter him as dust. When the chief priests and the Pharisees heard his parables, they perceived that he spoke about them. When they sought to seize him, they feared the multitudes, because they considered him to be a prophet. Matthew chapter 22, verses 1 to 46. Jesus answered and spoke to them again in parables, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who made a wedding feast for his son, and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast. But they would not come. Again he sent out other servants, saying, Tell those who are invited, Behold, I have prepared my dinner. My cattle and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding feast. But they made light of it, and went their ways. One to his own farm, another to his merchandise, and the rest grabbed his servants, treated them shamefully, and killed them. When the king heard that, he was angry, and he sent his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, The wedding is ready, but those who were invited weren't worthy. Go therefore to the intersections of the highways, and as many as you may find, invite to the wedding feast. Those servants went out into the highways, and gathered together as many as they found, both bad and good. The wedding was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there was a man who didn't have on wedding clothing. And he said to him, Friend, how did you come in here, not wearing wedding clothing? He was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and throw him into the outer darkness. This is where the weeping and the grinding of teeth will be, for many are called, but few chosen. Then the Pharisees went and took counsel how they might entrap him in his talk. They sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are honest, and teach the way of God in truth, no matter whom you teach, for you aren't partial to anyone. Tell us therefore, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness, and said, Why do you test me, you hypocrites? Show me the tax money. They brought to him a denarius. He asked them, Who is this image and inscription? They said to him, Caesar's. Then he said to them, Give therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. When they heard it, they marveled, and left him and went away. On that day, the Sadducees, those who say that there is no resurrection, came to him. They asked him, saying, Teacher, Moses said, If a man dies having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were with us 7 brothers. The first married and died, and having no offspring, left his wife to his brother. In the same way, the second also, and the third, and the 7th. After them all, the woman died. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife will she be of the 7? For they all had her. But Jesus answered, You are mistaken, not knowing the Scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are like God's angels in heaven. But concerning the resurrection of the dead, haven't you read that which was spoken to you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living." When the multitudes heard it, they were astonished at his teaching. But the Pharisees, when they heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, gathered themselves together. One of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him. "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. The second likewise is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The whole law and the prophets depend on these two commandments." Now while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them a question, saying, "What do you think of the Christ? Whose son is he?" They said to him, "Of David." He said to them, "How then does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit on my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet'? If then David calls him Lord, how is he his son?" No one was able to answer him a word, neither did any man dare ask him any more questions from that day forward. So that's all the reading for today. But I just wanted to say, when I'm reading, I end up having so many questions. There's so many things. I'm like, what does that mean? I wrote down, so Matthew 21 verses 18 to 22, Matthew 21 verses 33 to 39. And my question was, what will he do to the farmers? Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of. I'm wondering about these things, and I'm going to research them. And maybe in the future I'll make videos about them or something, I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that reading, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Okay, bye!